gummy bear.
It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this for January 12th, 2024 for the next hour or so. Let me help you sort through the world of gaming on Game Mess Mornings Live with me, Jeff Grubb. Today, Prince of Persia reviews are in, and we're going to probably get Switch 2 news every day for the rest of this year, whether it's real or not. But first, please join me in welcoming today's co-host of Game Mess Mornings. It's Timur Hussein, everybody. Tam, how are you doing?
It's Dregsday. You know what that means? It's the first Dregsday of 2024, which
we
means
did it.
Let's get crazy.
Let's
get
it.
Dragulous.
Right before we started, we did a little show and tell. I have more to show and tell, though, Tam. Can I show you the piece of artwork that I just got? All right, hang on.
Oh.
I just unboxed it. Okay, ready? It's
it's an Ikaruga.
It's Ikaruga, and it says at the top, our frothing demand for this game increases. I wanted the box quote on there, so I had it done myself.
Who wrote that? Who's responsible for that quote?
I can't remember who even did the quote. It's just like the most box quote I've ever.
That seems like a Shane Bettenhausen joint.
It could be something like absolutely. Yeah. God, that does sound like Shane. But yeah, so that's going up on my wall.
No, Shane Bettenhausen.
Matt Casamassina.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was thinking of One Up for some reason.
Casamassina.
I think it's because whenever I heard about Ikaruga, I was somehow watching or listening to a One Up thing.
I think I did learn about Ikaruga originally from One Up people anyhow, so I definitely made that association as well.
Yeah.
But yes, that's going up on the wall today. I'm going to find a spot for it. So for people that don't know, the Ikaruga box art had the IGN quote of "Our frothing demand for this game increases," and that became a meme on the I guess the early internet at this point.
Yeah, on the actual IGN website where the article is still available, it just lists IGN stuff.
Oh, boo. Okay, we'll have to get on the way back machine and solve that one once and for all. All right, yeah. I mean, listen, yeah, like you said, first Dregsday. That is going to mean like that some fake Nintendo news. That's where we're at on a Friday. But Prince of Persia, we'll get into all that in a second. First, let's explain what we do here. Most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to this show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with those Prince of Persia reviews. It is doing very well. This roundup comes from Evan Campbell at GameSpot. As the first new entry in the franchise in over a decade, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown is receiving quite the royal welcome from critics. The game moves away from the 3D action-adventure genre and instead offers a Metroidvania experience. The transition seems like the right one because Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown has a Metascore of 86 on Metacritic. And that's GameSpot's sister site. So there you go. Let's see. That favorable rating comes from 59 critic reviews at the time of this article's publication. GameSpot gave it a 9 out of 10, says Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown is the series' first attempt at a modernized Metroidvania, which could have easily fallen into the category of competent imitators. But with impactful combat, silky platforming, and innovative exploration mechanics, this latest Prince of Persia makes the series a leader in its class once again. That's from Steve Watts. Game Informer gave it a 9.5 out of 10, said The Lost Crown makes it hard to put the controller down, constantly urging players to follow its path just a little further. Following its persistent pull to explore more of Mount Koth is easy, though. Thanks to how good. A cue without a U is always going to throw me off, man.
Can you do that again?
Mount Koth. It's more air escaping my body than a word.
It sounds like your dying word is Mount Koth.
It's like when Christopher Lee explained to Peter Jackson what it actually sounds like to get stabbed instead of like the scream. That's what I'm doing there. Mount Koth. Thanks to how good it feels to do so. Between its first-rate platforming and engaging combat and progression, The Lost Crown's various parts coalesce into a sublime loop. Gameplay is king, and this Prince of Persia understands that. And that's from Wesley LeBlanc. Really good reviews across the board. Like, we're talking like the low scores here are 4s out of 5s. We've been playing this game. We will have our official Giant Bomb Bombcast Revengeance review today. You can listen to that. We're going to be doing that at 3 p.m. Eastern. bunch of us are going to be on that episode talking about that. Definitely tune in for that. But we've both been playing this. Tam, I love this game.
It's very, very good. I think like I keep caveating it by saying like the only real downside I can think of is like I'm not a fan of the writing and the story. It's kind
Agreed.
of like very forgettable,
Yep.
and the voice acting is not great. And also like the whole thing with the weird AI voice character,
Yeah.
which is really
one character is apparently text to speech.
yes. There's one character who is like this like sprite. That appears at the Wak Wak tree, which is like
it in the sewer one? Because that's the one I would guess.
Yes, it's the one that guides you around.
Okay.
And I immediately heard it, and I was like, "That's the TikTok TTS voice." Did they? What the hell? And then I messaged Lucy, and she was like, "Yes, it is, isn't it?" And I was like, "What the fuck?" And then it turns out, I thought maybe it was like, a human is being asked to do this weird TikTok TTS. No, it's just the TTS, and I was like, "Oh my god, this! I don't know how that happened." Is so weird.
It's like, yeah, right. It's like, look, listen, I get how sometimes a software company making stuff is going to use a text to speech for a character. Why that voice though? That's crazy.
No, dude, I think it is wild that it got all the way to release without someone going, "Are we going to replace this weird TTS voice?" or no?
The character is weird, but that really did not fit and took me out. And I was, I don't know. It's a very strange thing.
I mean, like the voice acting overall is kind of a little bit weird.
Sure.
It's like quite stilted at times, but it's not like a world-ending thing, especially because the rest of the game is so good that it's like you forget that stuff very quickly. It is a fantastic game. We'll talk about it more in Revengeance, but man, we said it. Steve Watts said it in our GameSpot review. It's like, this is where Prince of Persia is now going to belong for a while.
I was talking to Mike about it, and just remember that era of Castlevania games on the Game Boy Advance, getting one of those a year, and then on the DS, so like 6 years straight, just getting one of those. That was just a golden era for me. I played every single one. I was playing the Metroid games as well. Just like realizing, man, Metroidvania is my jam. And then having like the world conspire to make sure I got a ton of great ones back to back from big companies. And then later on, we're going to get that indie revolution of every indie developer makes a Metroidvania going forward. So we've been feasting for a long time. It's just amazing to see Ubisoft come along and use its resources to take it even higher, because this really is actually pushing the medium forward without actually like reinventing much. It's not like disrupting it. It is absolutely just one of those.
Yeah, I think if you like stand back and look at the wider impact or the lesson to be learned from a game like this, it is and everyone's saying this, so I'm not like the first person to be like, it is like a major company that is accustomed and is in the habit of spending millions of dollars on major blockbuster games, took the opportunity or took a step back, scaled it down, gave it to a team that was like full of creative vision, and they made, I feel comfortable saying, one of the most impactful Metroidvanias in a really long time.
Agreed.
Like I wouldn't say like, oh, this is better than, I don't know, Hollow Knight or something like that. But what I can say with confidence is like no other Metroidvania that I've played in recent memory has introduced new ideas to the genre that I think are now essential to this genre and maybe even to games as a whole. And that is just from scaling back and not dumping in, crazy amounts of money, making people work absurd amounts of hours and having 1 billion studios working on them at the same time. This is a very much a less is more situation coming from a publisher that really needs to learn the lesson that less is more.
I hope that is a real lesson that comes out of this, because boy, that would be nice. And a lot of other publishers could stand to copy this exact way of doing things, of taking a dormant franchise when you're not exactly sure what to do with, and just accepting that it's okay to scale back again. Taking a series that went from 2D to 3D back to 2D is just not something that these companies really understand how to do. Ubisoft actually kind of lighting the way on that is, I hopefully it actually is beating a new path down through the woods of how to like approach these games going forward. Because we keep talking about, hey, what are these publishers going to do when every game has to be this massive $300 million project? Well, it doesn't have to be. Find some other ways to do it. Let these teams be creative. And I guarantee that they are aching to work on a genre that they grew up loving, and now they want to express themselves doing that. And I'm sure that's what happened here.
I mean, it's also like when studios or companies, publishers start doing that thing where they put way too much money into and like they go beyond what's necessary, it often comes at the kind of expense of the smart thing to do. Like Ubisoft Montpellier, it's not a surprise that this game is good.
Very
like
good point.
they are the Rayman team. Like they know how to make these games and make them pop off. And also Ubisoft is no, it's no surprise to itself that it's made a game that's smaller in scale that's really interesting. They did that with games like, what was it called? Valiant Hearts was the last time they did that. They have these experiences that are smaller and was it Grow Home? Was that them?
Grow Home's Ubisoft,
yeah. So like that kind of stuff. It's like they have a history of doing smaller, more intimate, smarter, well-designed games, but the way the business is, especially for a capitalism-driven country like company like Ubisoft, which is huge and needs to like stomp around, like they just cannot hold themselves back from going way overboard on things. And then when people are like, we don't really care about this, actually, they're like, oh no, what do you mean you don't want an entire game built around the sailing from Assassin's Creed? Woe is us. It's like, we just stop, man.
You want
relax.
a Far Cry 5 expand alone? That's what we do not.
Like, no, we don't. Just like get Montpellier to make a cool game that they like. You let them make another Rayman that was great. You know, whatever. Like, even like, I don't think this is a spectacular game, but Assassin's Creed Mirage is a game that I completed.
True. Yeah.
It's the first Assassin's Creed game that I completed in a really long time. And obviously they still spent a decent amount. I don't think it's nearly as close to what they probably put into any of the big, full Assassin's Creed games. But I will take another Assassin's Creed Mirage over another Assassin's Creed Odyssey any day of the week.
Just even like indicating to us that is still on the table. That, okay, yeah, maybe the next Assassin's Creed is going to be one of those massive bastards all over again. But it, like, just indicate to us that a new Mirage is on the table. These smaller games, these middle-sized games, these more creative projects that can take more risks because they're not your biggest budget games. As long as they are in the cards and we're going to get them every so often, I'm happy to like be in that place. Seems like these publishers realize they do need to figure some of that stuff out. I think for the biggest companies, it's still going to be a question mark. But Ubisoft, like, diversifying and kind of going back to its roots here a little bit, seems pretty smart.
Yeah, I really am excited about some of the ideas that they have pitched for Assassin's Creed, like the Witchcraft one and the one in Japan. Like, I'm very excited for that stuff. The thing that really tempers my excitement is knowing that they might try and shove it into this massive, over the top experience that is going to be more, fat than actual like lean gameplay, exciting things. I hope that Assassin's Creed Mirage is like, it wasn't great, like I said. It had a lot of rough edges, but let's not forget the first Assassin's Creed was not great. Like it had some ideas.
An expand-alone that they built, or an expansion that they turned into an expand-alone and then kind of made it even bigger. So it's like, I don't know.
I hope they approach Assassin's Creed Mirage in the same way they approached Assassin's Creed 1, where they were like, okay, we clearly have something here. We didn't nail it. People aren't super into it. Let's do it again within this framework and see if we can do it better. And then from that, we got Assassin's Creed 2, one of the best games of all time, maybe. And I hope that they come back to it and are like, oh, let's do these smaller scale Assassin's Creed games, but make them as good as quality-wise as the bigger ones, just minus all the fat and keep it like focused.
Yep. It seems like the fact that we're getting some projects like this and it's working here and there. And I do think that Mirage sold very well, at least initially. I think it did surprisingly well, and Ubisoft confirmed that.
My question for you is this a kind of experience now that we will get out of necessity because the business of video game development is now in a state where they have to go like this? They can't keep going major games taking these huge risks. They need to spend some time on these smaller games, really like build a kind of like foundation back up again, and let the business side not destroy them.
It is possible. I think that's definitely a factor in how these things get decided upon every once in a while. I hope the way it works though is, a big company like Ubisoft does have these massive projects, and getting people up to speed on like their way of making games maybe gives them a space to be like, okay, we're going to have these smaller projects off to the side that is like a proving ground, a on the job training for how we're going to make these bigger ones. go ahead and put some love into that, and then you're going to be ready to maybe lead another project down here down the line. Now you get it. I hope it's like getting treated like that. I think that is the way it works for some many of these companies. We see with Naughty Dog when they're doing these in between projects of, they got their huge games that take forever. Now they're doing a bunch of remasters, and the remasters are, let's keep these people busy. Let's make sure new hires can kind of see the way we do things so they can hit the ground running when it's actually time to do the job on the real thing. I hope that's what's happening here, but I do think you're right that there is some threat that the business is so volatile, so scary. The opportunity costs are so large that at a certain point, these companies could be retreating from pushing the envelope at the biggest scale. That just might not be it might not be an opportunity cost they can literally afford at a certain point, which is a little scary. All right, moving ahead here. Random AI GameShark successor claims to know Switch 2 release date, then backtracks. This is from Alana Eggs at Nintendo Life, and I recognize that we're getting the publicity that it wanted. Whatever, here we are. We know everyone.
It's Dregsday. It's
Dregsday, exactly. We know everyone is desperate for news on Nintendo's next hardware, but an audio company that's creating the AI-enhanced successor to GameShark, yes, really, the company is claiming to be releasing a product alongside the Switch 2's launch. And that was not on our bingo card. As noted in a press release sent out earlier today and spotted by Digital Trends, audio electronics company Alltech Lansing boldly claimed that it would officially launch the AI Shark, which is purported to be an AI-based version of the old cheat cartridges we had back in the day, alongside Nintendo Switch 2's launch in September 2024. The product was announced at CES. Nintendo hasn't even announced a name for the Switch's successor, not even a code name. So the fact that Alltech Lansing states both this name and the release date is more than a little surprising. There's a section here from the press release where they basically just say that. And what they say is we're launching it to coincide with the Switch 2 in September 2024. This is made up. This is made up. Everyone could probably have guessed that. They were probably just trying to get attention. Alltech Lansing confirmed to, I believe, Imran Khan and Jason Schreier that they were just guessing, and then they put it in a press release. Now, to be fair, I bet this thing pretty much launches alongside a new Switch, but they were definitely just guessing. They would never know. I think back, like, Nintendo sued Galoob, the makers of the Game Genie originally. Like, they hated that thing. I guess they could have softened their position over the last 30 years, but I wouldn't think that Alltech Lansing would have access to this information. Tam, we're just a thirsty bunch. This is what's happening, right?
Dude, this is the modern day equivalent of when you go to like a Best Buy or like a EB Games, and the person at the till is like, I know when the next Call of Duty is coming out, or I know when the next Metal Gear Solid is coming out. How do you know? Trust me.
Trust me.
In the industry. It's like, shut up, man. What are you talking about?
Yep.
I'm proud to say that I have never in my life used GameShark because I'm built different. I don't need to cheat.
This is I never would even have assumed. I know. I can look at you and I know.
Yeah.
I think I got a Game Genie for my Game Boy, and it was like this big fat thing that stuck out of the top, and then the cartridge went in, and there was a little like cabinet built into this Game Genie that hid a booklet that had all the codes you were supposed to enter for all the games. It was weird.
What I want to know is, can we swear on this?
Oh, go to town.
What the fuck is an AI GameShark?
Oh, they're just making shit up. It doesn't mean anything. It just means that they're at CES. They need to get buzzwords going so they get attention. I don't know. I suppose you could just maybe talk to it and say, I want to jump higher. I don't know, Tam.
Oh, I hope that it's the TTS voice from Prince of Persia in the GameShark.
Oh man, jump higher in Mario. Yeah, it's this is a weird one. I really think that these companies are gonna keep doing stuff like this though, because it does work. Get talked about on shows like this. I promise you, AI GameShark or Alltech Lansing, I'm gonna forget your name tomorrow. We'll be moving on, and I'll still be thinking about Switch 2. But good try, good luck. Well, we'll see what happens. Is there even do people actually use anything like this anymore? I know there's like trainers on PC that work kind of a similar way, but I think most people don't even use those. I don't know.
I feel like people just, I don't know what you would do with this, like, because there's cheats are like not a major thing anymore, and hint systems are kind of built into games a lot more. I don't know what they're trying to do with this. I think people the era of GameShark is over. Is what I'm thinking. Like, grow up.
Yeah, Chad is pointing out a cheat engine, which is the game trainers I was referring to. Yeah, that's it works exactly the same as Game Genie for sure. People are saying it's massive. I do remember I talked to like one of those companies that made like a premium version of a cheat engine, and they're like, yeah, man, like 50% of people say they still use cheats in games. I'm like, okay, fair enough, but I guess people are responding in such a way that I believe cheat engine probably is very popular. I think I tried to use it once to adjust something in some game. I can't remember what it was now.
It was almost certainly removing some dumb restriction from like Skyrim.
Yeah, something like that. Yes. Something like
I
that.
need to be able to carry all the cheese wheels.
Right.
In this world.
Yes. Right. I'll do that in the command prompt on Skyrim. I definitely do that all the time. All right. We're going to take a quick break. We got a lot more news, including stuff about some like boomer shit like Rocket Knight Adventure and Felix the Cat. We'll get to all of that right after this. And we're back. Jeff Grubb, Tamor Hussein from Giant Bomb, still with you here on Game Mess Mornings. We're hopping in with Konami's Rocket Knight and Felix the Cat games are getting modern re-releases. This is from Andy Robinson at VGC. Konami is partnering with Limited Run Games to re-release its classic platformer games from the Rocket Knight and Felix the Cat series. Digital and physical collections for both the franchises are coming soon for PS4, PS5, and Nintendo Switch. The pair announced on Thursday with pre-orders open now. You got any history with Rocket Knight and or Felix the Cat?
Look at me. Do I look fucking 100 years old?
Were you alive during the Depression?
Were you around in a prohibition? What the fuck's going on?
I vaguely remember playing a Felix the Cat game as a kid. And I was aware of that weird little freak Rocket Knight Sparkster from Rocket Knight. Mostly at this point now, because Mike Minotti does love that game. He actually loves both of these games, or franchises, I should say. I think there's three Rocket Knight games. Here, the Rocket Knight Adventures Resparked will include Carbon Engine powered versions of, and Carbon Engine is the like emulation engine that MVG works on. So shout out to MVG for making it happen. That includes Rocket Knight Adventures from 1993, Sparkster, Rocket Knight Adventures 2 from 1994, and Sparkster 1994. I
remember playing the Felix the Cat game, and I remember thinking this is not good. So maybe I was just like,
it didn't stick with me at the very least.
Demographic, yeah. I think I played a Rocket Knight game, but I don't remember. I can't remember now if I'm thinking of Rocket Knight or Shovel Knight. Because Shovel Knight at least it looks a lot like one of those Rocket Knight games. I think
with some of the earlier ones. One of the Genesis one it was like looks very Genesis-y, and like the ones before that look a little bit more primitive. But yeah,
this is for one person, and it's Mitch.
Yes, he's been losing his mind. I think he's getting the expensive collector's edition of the Rocket Knight thing from Limited Run Games. He's also continuously talking about, should I get the skate deck that they're selling of Rocket Knight?
He's going to get it.
And he's going to get it. He's 100%. 100% going to get it.
Lean into it.
Konami makes good games, especially back then. Konami made good games.
Konami made good games, but now makes bad decisions.
This
is a perfect
Who among us, though? Yes, absolutely. God, those Felix the Cat games. I like. There were so many platformers that did like actually surprise me. Like the Tiny Toons Adventures games were like really good. Yeah, I think you're right. Felix the Cat probably didn't stand out among that crowd.
There's just so many games that Konami could be spending its time bringing back that isn't this one game that Mitch likes.
This public domain fucking cat.
This has to be like the who is it? Who's the team that they're partnering with? Is it Iron 8-Bit or?
It's Limited Run Games.
Limited Run. This has to be a Limited Run Games thing where they're like, hey, can we have that fucking cat rocket game that you guys have got rotting away in your like cellars? We've got some absolute freaks that we know are going to be into this. So please.
Okay, so I think Rocket Knight is a possum, but I still didn't get the answer of whether or not he's a possum with an O, the North American possum, or a possum without an O, Australian possum. I think it's the O possum, I think is what it is. Did you know that there was two different possums? Because I didn't until last night.
Yes. Yeah, possum is different, yeah.
Yes, I only thought of the opossum. That's the only one, because that's the one I've seen in real life. They've been right in front of me. I'm like, you're a fucking weirdo.
It's just literally where they live, right? And they're like slightly. I guess they look a bit different.
I think they look a bit different. I had an Australian tell me about it yesterday. Yeah,
I think opossums look a little more like freakish.
Yes,
whereas like possums are a little more cuddly looking, but you still don't want to go anywhere near either of them.
Yeah, so. Opossums, which is pronounced possum still. Well, people say opossum too.
It's like me and you. You're a possum. I'm an opossum.
That's right. You're an awesome possum. Opossums look like if a rat did meth. And I like that. I think that's
that is exactly what I look like. Yeah,
it's a powerful look, Tam. Absolutely. All right, sticking with this theme, Nintendo's Golden Sun RPGs are coming to Switch Online. This is from Andy Robinson of VGC as well. Nintendo and Camelot's classic RPG series Golden Sun is coming to Switch Online services this month. The Game Boy Advance games Golden Sun and Golden Sun: The Lost Age will be added on January 16th. For users with a Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack membership. Golden Sun and its sequel were released in 2001 and 2002 to broad critical acclaim. Man, remember when games would come out like back to back and like year one and then year two? That's wild. A third game, Dark Dawn, was released for the Nintendo DS in 2010 and most people hate it. These two games are pretty cool. I love Golden Sun. I really do.
This is the kind of old game is re-release that I can get on board with, where people even kind of know the name of the video game you're talking about, as opposed to like the Mitch stuff where it's like we've bought this game back from prehistoric times and only you know about it.
We found it in our time capsule that our kids made.
Golden Sun is very good. I'm glad that these games are going to be available again.
Me too. I like playing games like this on my Switch. The video that they put out looked really. It's nice to see like a modern advertisement for these classic games. It's for some reason it makes me feel warm and fuzzy. Golden Sun games are warm and fuzzy. They are just a pleasant thing to play through, and I think they look really striking. The Golden Sun visual style on the Game Boy Advance with its like faux 3D rotating sprites, which it was just so neat. I really
you know what
it.
I call them, Jeff?
Oh shit! Yeah, what do you call them?
I call them golden fun.
For audio listeners, he zoomed in on his face when he said fun because he knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing. No choice but to move on. Thank you, Dan. Exclusive from Insider Gaming, 3 more Sega classics are set to make their return. This is from Tom Henderson. It's been...
What is this? The old games are back day. What
it's
the fuck
old games. It's
on?
Dregsday, baby. You knew it was going to happen eventually. It's been a month since Sega announced its new era, new energy reveal at the Game Awards with games including... What happened to Sega's marketing? New era, new energy just sounds like a Weight Watchers thing or something. I don't know.
It does, yeah.
With games including favorites such as Jet Set Radio and Crazy Taxi being announced to make their return. Both of these games were rumored before the TGA announcement, so Sega went one further than just announcing a couple of games. The publisher announced 5 games that were in development, plus even more unnamed games thanks to an and more end card in the trailer. It generally felt like the publisher was shifting its strategy, and to some was generally one of the most exciting announcements from the event. But what about that and more end card?
Shenmue 4.
It's happening. It has to, right? Insider Gaming understands that around 10 Sega classics were greenlit for production between 2020 and 2021. The greenlit games included the already announced 5 that we got at the Game Awards: Jet Set Radio, Shinobi, Golden Axe, Streets of Rage, and Crazy Taxi. So far, we've been able to pinpoint 3 of the 5 other games that were greenlit from this period, and it's believed that more have also been greenlit since. Speaking to sources, it's understood that Panzer Dragoon, Neon Genesis Evangelion, and Sakura Taisen will all have new games, and all are in early stages of development too. That's I don't
Evangelion game.
I don't remember Sega ever making a Neon Genesis Evangelion, but I bet that was probably when it didn't get localized.
That is wild. There's an Evangelion game coming
and there's going to be there's going to be a new Evangelion game. Like that's what these. For people that are listening, hey, old games coming back. If you weren't paying attention to these Sega games, that's not exactly what's happening. These are new games, and some of them like look big budget. Some of them, at least all of them look like they have a budget. Even like the Golden Axe game looks like, okay, that's kind of looks like a modern Golden Axe.
Wait, this Evangelion game is a fighting game.
Okay, for some reason I would have guessed that. I would have guessed it was like a fighting game.
It seems like
that Power Rangers fighting game is like what popped in my mind when I started thinking about this.
Okay. There's quite a few. There's like a visual novel that was Ayanami raising something or another from the DS era. So apparently they've been making a shit ton of Evangelion games. They just never made it big hit.
Okay, but the new game, I think the idea of Sega making a new Evangelion fighting game now seems pretty far-fetched. They're probably making it something else at this point.
I feel like at best you get a visual novel, another visual novel.
Sure.
Because those pop off like a 999 style game or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. That could work.
One of those like, hey, you're having an existential crisis in the format of a Danganronpa, like that kind of thing.
Yes. There is more here. Following the New Era New Energy announcement, though, it was spotted by Gamatsu that Sega did file for a total of 12 trademarks, which became public on December 6, 2023. The trademarks included some of the already announced games, including the Crazy Taxi and Shinobis. Here's the full list: Alex Kidd, Afterburner, House of the Dead, Outrun, Super Monkey Ball, Altered Beast, Eternal Champions, and Kid Chameleon. Okay, you can leave Alex Kidd in the past. We're good here, actually. We don't need any more Alex Kidd.
I think you could leave probably quite a few in the past.
Okay,
Eternal Champions and Kid Chameleon, I don't think we need that.
Listen, those would have been the two as well. Listen, Altered Beast's got a cool idea. It was never a good game, but at least it's a cool idea, and you could do something with that for sure. Hey, Super Monkey Ball, absolutely. Give me a new Super Monkey Ball. They did one a couple years ago, and I enjoyed it. Outrun, House of the Dead, Afterburner. Sure, I like all of those. That's cool.
I wish they would like partner with some of the third parties that really define some of their games. Like Capcom was huge on Dreamcast. Well, I think about specifically they did Marvel vs. Capcom there, but like bring back Power Stone.
Power Stone, yeah.
Capcom, grow up. Bring back Power Stone. Jesus.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Yeah, that would, I mean, I think hopefully what happens here is this initiative works. Every episode we do this, but I'm going to do it again. Go back to that Phil Spencer letter talking about these publishers that used to just have the stranglehold on the retail store are struggling to compete with 16,000 games coming out on Steam or whatever, and they don't have an identity. This feels like Sega saying, we do have an identity. We need to turn into that and own that. And if this works to any extent, I think they do start going down that path of, okay, so we went back and took a lot of our old arcade, a lot of our old Genesis stuff, and we're bringing that stuff back. We dipped into Dreamcast, the Crazy Taxi, but how can we tap into that identity even harder? I could easily see us getting to a point where we get them working with Capcom on a Power Stone. Capcom's not going to have like availability to like make it, but to like give their blessing, have a producer involved or something like that. That could happen. And then having like a team come in and oversee that stuff. That seems like the path they're on. And I fully endorse this. I think this is great. I think Sega has like really figured something out here. A lot of it will come down to how good these games are, obviously. But if they're, mostly pretty good and some of them are great, like a new Shinobi game coming out, and like, let's say that's, in the Metroid Dread to Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown sort of milieu. No guarantee it would be a Metroidvania. Might not even be. But if it plays as good as those games, oh, man, I'm going to be thrilled. And then take that energy, continue to move it forward, and make this even bigger. Like if they make a new Panzer Dragoon Saga, I think that could pop off really hard. A new big RPG from this like mysterious mystique, like the around Panzer Dragoon Saga, but always being really good, but most people haven't played it, and now they're making a new one of those. I think Sega could really find something that works here. I don't know. Does that sound right?
Imagine if they partnered with From Software and brought back one of their classic IPs that everyone's been hoping and dreaming that would fit perfectly into the From Software mold. Of course, Choo Choo Rocket. Imagine that.
I'm imagining it, and it's beautiful.
I think that this also does set a very dangerous precedent where we are also making boomers feel relevant again.
Yeah, I think
that is incredibly dangerous.
Yes, I do feel catered to, and you got to be careful with that. I'm going to get big in my britches, and everyone else is going to have to deal with that.
Yep.
It's going to be ugly. We'll see. Hey, I think Sega's sort of the multi-pronged approach here of they have their PC gaming stuff that was working very well for a very long time. It's gotten a little messy, but that worked for a really long time. Then there's Persona, everything that's happening over with Atlas, Sonic, and then these other old games here that are coming back. I think that is a multifaceted strategy that can have a lot of diverse winners.
Did I ever tell you about the story treatment that I wrote for Crazy Taxi?
No, but I am desperate to hear it now.
It's completely unprompted. No one asked me to do this. I just one day decided I was going to write a story treatment for
I didn't think like Tom Clancy was breaking down your door being like, we need you, Tam.
So here's the thing, right? Crazy Taxi 2, or the new Crazy Taxi, should take place in a world where the yellow cabs are basically extinct. You play as one yellow cab. You're the only yellow cab remaining in a city.
Okay.
The city is actually overrun and completely dominated by a corporation that is a stand-in for Uber.
Of course.
So Uber has completely destroyed the yellow taxi market. But in doing so, it's also become extremely unreliable. You know how today when you call an Uber, it says be there in 1 minute, but it arrives 10 minutes later.
Right, you have no idea.
That's how everything is now. It's because it's a saturation of Uber-like vehicles. So we have one day this person decides, I am going to take on big Uber. And I have this, and he's like finds this one old yellow taxi and decides, I'm not going to play by the rules.
Right.
I'm going to run the red lights. I'm going to hit the ramps. I'm going to like skid into launching customers out. And then word goes round and you have to basically take over the city district by district.
Climb
one
towers.
Yellow taxi.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then you have like one-on-one fights with like Uber drivers, and you have to try and get like high ratings and that kind of stuff.
Ooh, I like this a lot. That's very good. The cab has a car phone in it, and the number for it is 888-8888. So it's just like the old yellow cab number and everything. I'm on board. That sounds fantastic. I would play that. I would watch that. Yeah, that's the next gen Crazy Taxi we all need.
Yeah, if you see that story suddenly appear in a Crazy Taxi game, cut the check, and also where it came from.
All right, Sandland, the series trailer teases a world of explosive action and devilish humor. Mostly, I want to include this because this is Sandland's that new Akira Toriyama inspired, or actually he was involved in it. Anime that's also getting a game from Bandai Namco. They are promising to release that game this year, so it's going to be. We're actually going to get a chance to play that. I think there might have been a release date, but now I'm like looking through here, I don't see it. The anime is coming out April 25th. I think the game is coming around the same time. I thought this looked really cool when we saw it at Summer Game Fest. You have any interest in Sandland, Tam?
I'm going to be honest and say no,
That's
but.
fair.
I when I say that, I mean like I have no kind of like bubbling excitement for it. When it is available, I probably will play it because it's Toriyama inspired, and everything I've seen of Sandland seems to be getting a lot of positive buzz. It's a IP or a world that has potential, it seems like. So I'm excited to check it out once it's available, but I'm not like losing my mind every day thinking how many more sleeps until Sandland is available.
Right. I think what grabbed my eyes, like it looks like a different visual style than most RPGs, and so it was like, this desert setting. I hope the gameplay and the fun sort of matches my excitement for the way it looks. We will have to kind of play it to know for sure. April 26th is when this is coming out, and it's going to be just about everywhere. You're going to be able to play it. So I'm looking forward to at least hearing what people think and getting a chance to get hands on myself. Discord is cutting its workforce by 17%. This is from Jeffrey Rousseau at gamesindustry.biz. Discord is reducing its workforce by 170 staffers. That's 17% of the social media platform's staff. As reported by The Verge, per an obtained internal company memo, the decision will affect employees across departments. In the memo to staff, CEO Jason Citron said, "We grew quickly and expanded our workforce even faster, increasing by 5x since 2020. As a result, we took on more projects and became less efficient in how we operated. We are increasingly clear on the need to sharpen our focus and improve the way we work together to bring more agility to our organization, blah, 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 blah." This is another company pulling the lever on, hey, we had to grow infinitely because that's what you're supposed to do when you're trying to raise money in Silicon Valley. And now we need to be a company that makes money, and we have too many people to do that. And so you have to pay the price for us not being able to predict what we needed properly. This has happened several times in the last week, basically. Since this year started, we got Unity dropping a ton of employees, cutting a huge number of staff, 25%, I believe. Twitch doing 35% of its staff, and that was in the hundreds as well. So now Discord doing the same thing. A part of this is obviously going to be a contagion element where these companies are like, man, we were thinking about it, but these other companies are doing it. We should do it now so we don't stand out. We'll just be one of many and we don't look as bad. But also I think these companies just don't really know what they're going to do to actually become profitable. And as always, the workers pay, Tam. It's very frustrating.
Yeah. I mean, like we've talked about this far too many times, and a disheartening amount of times in the last year or so, longer, I guess, where it's like, the ordinary people who are just doing their utmost to work and putting everything they can into their day-to-day live jobs are the people suffering from the greed and overreach of executives that are on some fruitless campaign to try and force growth into businesses that probably don't have a lot of growth potential in them right now. And it is awful because this is like one of many like layoff rounds that we've seen happening in the last week. Like the beginning of January has been a bloodbath already, and it's easy to like kind of not pay attention to it because everyone's usually in January so focused on themselves and getting set up for the year and that kind of stuff. It's almost insidious the way like a lot of these companies have done it right at the start of the year. It's rough, man. It is real rough out there. And like I don't, anytime a company says we're doing this to become more agile, have more agility, it's a huge red flag. Like it is.
Yep.
It is a massive red flag. It's saying like, oh, we worked ourselves into a position where we're basically in quicksand. So now we need to figure out how to bounce our way out of this. And it's like, again, ordinary people suffering for the greed of very rich people.
And it really does drive me crazy to read these statements because, they pass themselves off as these steely-eyed realists, these very pragmatic capitalists that are doing what they... Listen, we're going to make the hard decision because we understand what's going on here. We're fully tapped into to what our company needs to be, and we're going to get there. And I'm the one that's going to get them there. And like I can't tell too many tales out of school, but I just like observed an executive from a company similar to this. We were at some of these events in this last year, and just like a slob, completely completely oblivious to what their surroundings, their immediate surroundings. Yeah. The idea that these kind of people are steely-eyed realists, that they know better than everyone else, is a joke. And they fucking flaunt it in our face with these statements like this. Oh, we gotta be more agile. Fuck you. It's just infuriating.
And a lot of the decisions that get them to the point where they need to, or they claim they need to do something like this, are done knowing that the end of the road is this situation. It's often reactive to like the industry or the economic world around you, and the demands of what is going to keep shareholders happy, what is going to make people like feel like we're relevant and in trend and like adhering to trends currently, so that it looks like you're a relevant company. And they do that knowing like, oh, this is going to tank. And at some point we will have to, cut staff and like tighten the belt and do all this nonsense. But they do it because in that moment, that is what will get them by. It's irresponsible in most scenarios. It's like when everyone was suddenly like, oh, we're doing NFTs. It's like it was so clear that NFTs were a dead end and no one wants it. But they did it because it was the thing that was the buzzword that made shareholders go, oh, you're relevant. This is very cool. Are you doing this? It's like, and everyone knew that shit was dog shit. Mm-hmm. And now like companies like Ubisoft are standing going, no, we're still going to do NFTs. They're really cool. It's like, shut up. Just people being irresponsible, driven by capitalism to do the work, make the worst decisions every time, get rich, and then just have people who are innocent doing their best and not deserving of it all take the fall for it.
Yep, and it's like these outcomes are inevitable once you get to a certain point of viewing layoffs as a lever you can pull, and that's not how it always used to be. You go 40 years and earlier, 40 years back and before that, and the idea of being able to pull a lever and lay off a bunch of people to then protect the income of a company was not something that was commonplace, very, very rare. And now you get to a point where it's like, no, that's a tool in the toolbox, and well, that's going to get used they're going to use it, and then they're going to build their strategy around it. Like Unity, you look at what they did, and it was, we're going to bring in Riccatello not to turn Unity into this really useful tool. We're going to bring him in so that we can make the most money for the board of directors by making good acquisitions and deals with Iron Forge or whatever the hell that company was. And when we do that, we're going to make sure that it's a sweetheart deal, and the board of directors at Unity gets a big bonus because if that deal goes through. And Riccatello did all that. He succeeded in their eyes. That he did exactly what they want, because they knew on the other side, once they got past all of that and the company's in a shitty position and they can't make any money, well, we could just lay a bunch of people off. And it's like, that's a lever to pull. Why wouldn't you build a strategy around it? So it's like we are in a nightmare scenario, and it's being exploited at every turn, it feels like. And eventually this is going to break in a way that is going to be a huge backlash to these companies.
All I ask is the ordinary people out there do their part and make sure that they never stop bullying rich people.
Yes, 100%.
Okay? Take my advice. Always bully rich people.
It's if you want to bully somebody, you got to bully somebody. Well, the rich people are out there. Get out there, make it happen. Yeah. All right. Final headline I have here is Capcom really adding anti-mods DRM to older games. It's a question posed by Sharif Saeed at VG247. Capcom is reportedly turning its newfound stance against modding into action. The Japanese publisher, which recently called mods no different than cheating in an RE Engine developer update, has started cracking down on modding of its games. Since that statement was made, there have been scattered reports that Capcom has been taking down Monster Hunter speedrunning videos which rely on mods, such as those published by YouTube channel Team Darkside. Now players have spotted fresh updates to old Capcom games, with one of those being Resident Evil Revelations, as seen on SteamDB.
You'll never stop me from cheating in Resident Evil Revelations. Never.
You'll never stop me from putting Leon Kennedy in a sling kini. That's my right. This is America. Yes, on Steam forums, players have been trying to unpack what it was actually added, changed, and found that to be the Enigma Protector, an anti-tamper DRM. According to the Enigma Protector website, which is just a fuck name, the software offers a range of services that include protecting the executable file from hacking, analysis, modification, and disassembly. According to many on the Steam forums, the latest update has actually prevented the game from being able to run on their system, while others complain about a hit to performance as well as more pronounced stuttering, two issues commonly associated with this kind of DRM. What? Come on, Capcom, chill out. What are you doing here?
Capcom, look, listen to me. Look into my eyes. You're doing so well. You're doing so well. Don't do this to yourself.
Why the ungo?
I know this DRM company came to you and was like, listen, we can make this real easy. It will be fine. Don't worry about it. We just need to access to your files. They're lying to you. They're going to fuck this up for you. Don't do it. You're doing so well right now. Behave.
This apparently stops Cheat Engine from working. Speaking of Cheat Engine,
come on.
And it's in Revelations. Who gives a shit? That's like the Resident Evil Revelations. Are you kidding me? The game from like 15 years ago that if someone plays and cheats in it, who's it? It's not hurting anybody. What are you talking about, Capcom? Why do this?
I love the idea of someone like bursting into a Capcom exec's room and being like, someone's cheating in Resident Evil Revelations. We have to stop this. The experience is ruined for them. It's like, what the fuck?
The saga, of course, started with the naked Chun-Li incident with a Street Fighter 6 tournament. When a Street Fighter 6 tournament was interrupted after Chun-Li appeared nude thanks to a modded 3D model of one of two players.
Okay. Yeah. If she wants to fight in the nude, that's her. Like, if you had a body like that, I would be fighting.
Oh yeah, 100%. Work that hard, you're going to show it off.
She put in the work to get those legs thick as hell. Let her flaunt them.
And you're only going to be looking at the thighs anyhow, so she could show off thighs whether she was clothed or not. Yeah, I remember this when this happened. That was wild. So it was like, wow, that's just a naked Chun-Li.
So what actually happened was someone kicked into the door to the exec that went, they're too horny. The game is too horny.
Look what they did to Chun-Li. It's like, well, look what we did to Chun-Li. Like, look what you've designed here. Come on, what do you expect? I installed Resident Evil 4 mods when I was playing that. that made what's her name, Ada Wong.
Ada?
Yes, look different, bigger proportions, let's say. And I forgot because you don't see Ada for a long time, and then she showed up, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Then I saved a screenshot of that, and it's on my Steam page. And Andy from Kind of Funny was loading up Resident Evil forums, like looking on Steam, and he's like, "What is this picture that Grubb shared? Oh my god!" He did that live on stream, so that's fun. You know what? And I'm gonna keep doing it, Tam. Capcom can't stop me. We'll figure out a way around all this horseshit.
Listen, you can try as much as you want. I will give Rathalos boobs, whether you like it or not. Okay.
All right. I do like it. News story just popped off here. The Smite World Championships are happening. They just announced Smite 2.
What the hell is a Smite?
Smite is that over the shoulder not
I'm kidding. I know what that is. Ain't nobody want a Smite 2. Relax.
For people that don't know, it's that over the shoulder MOBA where you play as gods. Why do they need a Smite 2? I guess
I don't know, man. Good luck to them. I hope that is a success, and I hope that they very reasonably expand the studio. And if there's no chance of layoffs.
Yeah, keep trying stuff. They've had several other games that they've tried to make. They had that Overwatch clone, for lack of a better word. I wonder how that's doing. There was a couple of other projects that they've since shut down, I think, or at least scaled back.
Wasn't there an actual game where you could play as like gods or like religious figures? Didn't that happen at one point?
Well, there's been a handful of those.
It was like, this is you. I mean Jesus.
Yeah,
like,
I think wasn't there a fighting game like that? But I thought it was like a community thing.
Is that one?
But yeah, this one doesn't have Jesus, but it has a lot of other gods. I thought, like Muhammad's not in there, but they skirt the line with every other god pretty much besides those two.
Cowards.
Fight of gods, says Turbo Sean. So is this what you're looking for?
You know why Prophet Muhammad isn't there? OP. He would wreck everyone. You got no chance. You think Jesus is going up against Prophet Muhammad? Prophet Muhammad will just own the shit out of everyone. Let's go.
That reminds me of that Rami tweet where it's just like someone say, "Hey, if you want to tear down,
he's the last prophet of God for a reason, because he owned all the rest of them.
If you want to tear down Christopher Columbus statues, then you should want to tear down Prophet Muhammad statues." And he's like, "Sure."
Yeah, do it. Yeah,
that got me real good.
Find one and do it.
Yeah, sure. Well, fine. I agree. As a Muslim, I agree. It's like, oh, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Prophet Muhammad is the Shinakuma of these games. You cannot beat him. He's reading your inputs.
Yeah, the code to unlock him is wild. All right. Yes. So Smite 2 is happening. Fair enough. You're right. Good luck. I would like to see how that's going to turn out for them. Just wow, they're getting a new MOBA in 2024. Something about that seems strange. All right. Oh, I just saw a clip from this Fight of Gods, and Santa Claus was fighting somebody. So that's pretty good.
Is Santa Claus a god? What the fuck?
I know. I guess. I mean, it's Saint Nick, right? He's a saint.
I think he's the god of consumerism. I guess.
Yeah. God of Macy's, I believe. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. We got a poll question that we're going to get to. We have a poll from yesterday. I'll get to all that in a second. While I get that set up, Tam, why don't you tell people where they can find you, what you got going on, what we have going on, all that good stuff.
We have Revengeance happening, Giant Bomb Revengeance later on. Please tune in for that. I believe we're doing the Prince of Persia review, and also, have we told people we're doing the draft?
Fantasy Critic, yeah. We're doing a Giant Bomb Fantasy Critic draft, yeah.
Which is going to be really exciting because me and Lucy are on it, and we have no idea what anyone is talking about when they're like, we're doing a fantasy draft, and we were like,
We'll explain it, but you'll get the hang of it, I think. There are some nuances to like how the like drafting a new game during the year, how that works and when you can do it. But we'll get all that explained. And by we, I mean, I'll make Sean do it.
Yeah. And then, there's the UPF is happening with VR, I believe, still.
That's right. We're doing some dumbass VR stuff. I got all that stuff downloading right now.
I just learned that Monday is a holiday. Big up MLK. Let's go.
Yeah, I've been meaning to ask. I'm like, do we have Monday off? And I'm going to assume that's what that means.
Legend. That's pretty much it.
All right. Poll question from yesterday. Are you happy with the battery life of your DualSense? 72% said no. 20% said yes.
Jeff Grubb, the DualSense has destroyed my hands.
Yeah, okay, right. We also talked about this a little bit. Like how much? The DualSense Vanilla or was it DualSense Edge?
DualSense and DualSense Edge.
Both.
They basically took my nascent like RSI and carpal tunnel
Right.
and just
activated
it put it into overdrive. Like now
like the
I'm
Manchurian
in pain.
Candidate. Like just played it and now you're live with RSI.
I purchased the Victrix Pro BFG and I did it in the worst way possible, where I didn't do the research. I was just desperate.
Sure. And I've been there. We all been there.
Although the Victrix Pro BFG is good, it's okay. I did not look into how it feels. It's a very light controller. It feels very cheap. Right. I did not know that third-party controllers cannot turn the PlayStation 5 on.
Really?
Wirelessly, yeah. Apparently, that's a thing that only the DualSense and controllers that are basically the DualSense broken down and rebuilt, which is what the SCUF controllers can do.
Sure.
So it also, like, the buttons feel not great. However, it is easing the pain. It's still there.
Okay, that's something.
I wish I had done more research. I wish I had looked into the SCUF one and maybe the Razer one. I'm not dissatisfied entirely with my purchase.
Right, but it's not
just
perfect.
A little bit.
It's
not good. It's not. I don't feel super good about it.
Right.
I just the problem is like these controllers are so expensive. Like this SCUF one, not the SCUF one. This Victrix one was like $200 and something, and I'm like, damn, I'm getting clapped.
SCUF ones are also about that expensive.
The SCUF ones are like $250, $300. Like, I picked one. I can't really like reverse that decision now, unfortunately. The one good thing about it is like it's modular, so you can pop out different parts. And one of the options it has is like a fight pad style layout, which is nice with the 3 buttons, but like I'm not going to be using that much.
Right.
I guess I might. I just don't want to go through the bother of returning it, especially because it's like so I don't know. If you're Razer and you're SCUF out there, just send me one of these fucking things, please. I'm dying.
Yeah, hook a boy up. Let's look at help him out with his hands. Come on, RSI ain't no joke.
I'm a gamer. Sucks. Stop trying to take my hands away from me.
Do you have any hopes that this DualSense V2 that leaked, that prompted this one that like they're saying is going to have twice the battery life, that maybe it'll have some other improvements to?
I very much doubt it. Yeah. There's something fundamental in the design of the DualSense that is bad. I know at least 2 other people, Lucy and Kurt, also have the same thing happening to them.
I got very injured with it when I played 80 hours straight of Astrobot. And
the wild thing is like anytime they replicate that, like kind of like the form factor or even the feel, it does the same thing. So the PlayStation Portal is basically the same thing. And when I use the PlayStation Portal, I can feel my hands starting to hurt. And so I'm like, there's something in the design of the DualSense, the way it's shaped, that is like designed to just destroy hands.
Is it just your freakish circus large hands? Is that what it is?
No, I actually went online and people were like, yep, this happens to me. And it's like people from all walks of life, different size hands, they're like, we don't know why it's doing this. It's just the way that it's like shaped. And then I think it's the way it's shaped, the way it doesn't like properly fit in your rest in your hands. And then that's combined with the placement of the sticks, which ordinarily has been fine for me, but like this generation, like the 2 sticks side by side is like wrecking it. And then the way the triggers work, where it's got one resistance and then also the feedback, all of it combines to just be the like hand destroying controller that it is. I have always been perfectly fine with the DualShock controllers. This is the first time I would say like, this is a bad controller, man. Like, and I say that purely because I cannot play the console that it's for without hurting myself.
I hope you are able to find a solution. We're gonna check back in on you with this, because I want to see if any controllers end up actually helping you with this. I'd be glad to hear that. All right, new poll question. Let's see here. Which game return are you most excited about? Rocket Knight, Felix the Cat, Golden Sun, or OK Boomer? Those are your choices there.
OK Boomer.
We'll get to that on Game Mess Mornings on Monday here on Giant Bomb. Speaking of Giant Bomb, as Tam mentioned, we will have a VR dumbass collection of games here. We're going to play Asgard's Wrath 2 and then some stupid stuff after that. That's going to be our UPF Tune in for that. That's going to be about an hour from now if you're watching live, 1 p.m. It'll be up on the site, giantbomb.com, and up on YouTube if you're watching later. And then Bombcast Revengeance. It's been a lot of fun. These Revengeance episodes have been very good. They're more free form. We can kind of bring a different energy to it. I've really been enjoying it. If you haven't listened yet, it's going to be a great week to start. We're going to do a review. So tune in for that. All right, Tam, thank you so much for spending today talking with me about video games. I really appreciate it.
Dregsday, baby.
We got it. We nailed it. Dregsday. Dregsday 2024, starting off strong. Thank you all for watching. You're the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Okay.